was very depressed. I said, Mom, we've come this far. What are we going to do? She said, son, don't give up hope. Got on my knees and prayed. I prayed to God. I said, God, you got to do something. And he showed me 3 sheets of paper in a dream. Just 3 sheets of paper. Clear as day. The lawyers came to me and they said, Barney, we need to find records. Mr. Michael Hursty was my attorney. He said, Barney, we've searched everywhere. There are no records. He said, can you give me any more information? And I remember the name of the first judge that I went before. Judge Ferguson. They went back to the archives, armed with that one name. They told the peoples in juvenile justice what had happened to me. They took that name, they went in the archives. People volunteered to come in and to search for the records of what happened to Barney Brown. And believe it or not, they found 3 sheets of paper. The 3 sheets of paper said that I had been tried as a 14-year-old child, found not guilty of every accusation. The witness said I had nothing to do with any crimes and should have been released and returned home. Only problem, before Judge Thornton could make a ruling, they moved him off the bench. The next judge to take the case was Antonio Murray, a Cuban immigrant, came to this country in 1961. Antonio Murray heard 5 minutes of it, the argument, and said, enough is enough. He did what judges rarely do, stepped down from the bench. He walked over to me and he put his arms around me like this. And he said, Barney, what they did to you was wrong. You never should have been in prison. He said, Barney, you're strong. Keep your head up high. Do good things. And with his order, I was a free man. 2008. But where you go, all of your life is taken. September 24, 2008, they rushed into the jail, said, get all of your stuff, everything you own. We got to get you out of here. We have an order to release you. In a pouring down rain. They literally threw me out of the back door of Dade County Jail. I'm standing there in the rain, trying to figure out what happened to me. The best way I can sum it up, it was like some aliens kidnapped me and took me away and beamed me back down to earth. I'm standing there in the rain, pouring down raining, and I see a guy with something that looks like a walkie-talkie. That's what I related to. And I asked the guy, I said, what is that, man? He said, man, you crazy? This is a phone. I had never seen a cell phone. I said, that's a phone. I said, can you make a call? He says, yes. What number you on? I said, man, you're not drunk, are you? I said, no, I don't drink, man. I said, I want to call my sister. He said, well, okay. I gave him the numbers. Sure enough, he called my sisters. And he gave me this little small thing, and I could actually hear my sister on the other end of it. I said, wow, man, this world has really moved far ahead. Wow. But anyway, my sister told me, don't move. So I didn't. I just stood there in the rain. Just stood there, and finally she came. Wanda Williams. So she's whooping and hollering about, "You free, brother! Brother, you're free! You're free!" And I'm like, "Hey, get me out of here fast! Let's go!" I'm thinking in my mind, they may decide to come back out here and get me and take me back in. So finally we got in the car. And like, oh man, I'm like, wow. I'm looking at all these tall buildings and stuff. Everything is completely new to me and different. Finally, she get me home. And like, wow. I'm finally, 38 years I left this house right in Hollywood here. I get out of the car and I'm thinking, wow, my whole life is gone. And I walked into the house and my mother is there. I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna get it. I left home 38 years ago. Randolph didn't tell anybody I was leaving. I said, boy, she's probably gonna beat my butt. But she didn't. She said, son, come in. Are you hungry? I said, yes. She sat me down at the table. Sat me down at the table. She told me not to say that. The bowl and the plate that I had left 38 years earlier, my mother never got rid of it. Always believing that someday I would come back and sit at that table. She told me that every night before she went to bed, she would go in my room and walk around my bed and pray around it.
Seven times.
7 times she would walk around that bed, praying to God that someday I would be returned home. So 38 years after I left home, finally I had returned home. So how is my story important? I never even told you why I left, how I left. And I'll go back to the top and kind of explain it to you. As I said, my dream and my passion was to play in the big leagues. That's what I wanted to do. And I remember my dad, he taught me many lessons. I played ball, he always told me to keep my eye on the ball, to stay focused. But I allowed my focus to be lost, trying to prove to people who I thought were my friends. My mother had told me and warned me about people in the neighborhood that were not living, not doing the right things. She told me to stay away from those type of guys. But like we do, don't always listen to parents. You think, what does she know? She don't know anything, you know. But she mostly was right. Anyway, that Saturday morning, friends came round to the house and they began to put a lot of pressure on me. Pressure to go with them. Said that they was going on a trip up the state. And I told them I couldn't go because my mother told me to stay at home. They started calling me a mama's boy. You're soft. You can't go. Look at you. You're just a little soft mama boy. And something in me, I don't know what it was, but I wanted to prove to them that I was not like that. I could go if I wanted to. I could disobey my mom. The catcher was somebody said that you'll be back home before she returned. I thought about that. I said, yeah, it would be. So I gave in to the pressure, get in the car with them, and I never returned home for 38 years. What was the lesson? The lesson was one bad choice, one bad decision. It can impact the rest of your life. One bad choice can actually end your life. So when you decide to make a choice or a decision in life, you need to think it out very clearly. Bad choices lead to bad consequences. So I admit to you, think about the choices that you make. Let no one persuade you to go against what you know is right. Choose to do right in every situation. Choose to make good decisions for your life. Yes, I may never play in the NFL. May never play shortstop, my dream, my vision, for the Yankees, my favorite team. But I could not stand here today had I not made one choice, and that was to educate myself. So I say to you, empower yourself. Get a good, solid education. The decisions and the choices that you make today, they will determine your future and where you will be. Don't take wild and foolish chances. And I'll even just one more thing. Be careful in your choice of friends. A friend would never tell you to do something that was wrong, something that would endanger your life. That's not a friend. I submit to you, in your lifetime, you're only going to meet one or two friends. And in most circumstances, of the one or two friends, one of them will be your parent. My mother, always by my side, always. Through everything that I went through, always there. So the choices that you make, they will determine what your future will be. Arm yourself with a good education. It is the key to true freedom and self-empowerment. I thank the Miramar family for having me here today. God bless you all. Thank you. I never close without just asking if there's anyone who would like to ask any questions. I'll be perfectly open and candid with you, any question you like. Anyone. Among the young, don't be afraid. For some of the young people here, I'm sure there's some curiosity. You got a question? Okay, over here. Yes. As Mr. Randall said, I'm a director with the Liberty Project. That's one program that caters to keeping young people out of the prison system and incarceration. We try to teach them about educating themselves, about the choices that you make. I also work with the program sponsored by Miami-Jackson Hospital called the GATES program. The GATE program. The GATE program, I'm an instructor, I'm one of their instructors, and it's a program about the use of weapons. So a program specifically designed for weapons offenders, guys who get in gangs, guys who carry knives and guns. So what we teach them is, before you make a choice to carry a weapon, one, if you make a choice to carry one, you intend to use it.